What is going on, IE Sports Radio fans? It's your boy, the SoCal Saint, back at it again with another new edition of your premier professional wrestling podcast. It is the IE Elite Wrestling Show. This is your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. It's your boy, the SoCal Saint. Follow me on the X at IE Elite Pod. That's at IE Elite Pod. And you can follow IE Sports Radio. That's the hub for all of our shows at IE Sports Radio on the X. Please check out our website, iesportsradio.com. If you want to get to know some of our hosts better, we have a profile page for all the hosts on the IE Sports Radio network with links to all of the past episodes that you have missed. You can sign up for free, and you can join our blog postings and just get to know us a little better. Check out our store and just be an all-around encompassed fan of the IE Elite Sports Radio product. Also, please do yourself a favor and check out the delicious premium brisket beef jerky of planetjerky.net. It is the sponsor for IE Sports Radio. This beef jerky is on a whole other planet. So, we got a lot to talk about today, guys. Big news today in the world of sports and entertainment. Today, a new era begins in the world of professional wrestling. A new era ended. An era ended last night, and a new era begins this morning, or has begun this morning. More on that a little later. Got a little bit of pay-per-view news, the upcoming big events that'll be taking place for WWE and AEW. Got some Impact Wrestling news to get into. Impact already had their 1,000th episode television tapings. That was a big event, a lot of big returns, some spoilers for you that I'd like to share for you. But, let's go ahead and just jump into the big main story. It's kind of hard to ignore that, especially with the title of this episode. If you're just tuning in live now, you'll see the title of this episode is called The TKO Era Begins. And what do I mean by that? It was announced after WrestleMania this past April that the parent company known as Endeavor, the company that owns the UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship, the hugest mixed martial arts company in the world today, if ever, did purchase the WWE, or came to terms of a sale for World Wrestling Entertainment, and that sale has finally been finalized, for lack of a better term. It is finalized. They have dotted the I's and they have crossed the T's. It has been officially closed out, and the now merged company that will now sit on the New York Stock Exchange as TKO Group Holdings is official. And I have an article right here from the very reputable website, vanity.com, Variety.com, the Variety newsletter. WWE officially merged to form TKO Group, new stock to start trading. That is right. And here's the full story. I'm going to just go right into it. The marriage of UFC and WWE is complete. Endeavor and WWE announced the close of their deal to create TKO Group Holdings, merging the wrestling entertainment company and MMA leader UFC. The hope is that by tag teaming as a unified force, the UFC and the WWE together will become stronger than could be separately. TKO together boasts more than 1 billion fans around the world, reaching viewers of 180 countries, producing more than 350 annual live events. That's WWE and UFC together. The company's new website is at tkogrp.com. Shares in TKO will be trading today, September 12th, on New York Stock Exchange, ticker TKO. Endeavor holds a 51% controlling interest in the new company, and existing WWE shareholders hold a 49% interest in a fully diluted basis. With WWE shares will cease on the exchange. WWE closed up 2 points Monday. to $100.06. The price of TKO shares is paid to WWE price, which has factored in the cutover to the new issue. Vince McMahon, of course, the head honcho, former CEO of WWE, assumes the role of executive chairman of TKO. Under the terms of the deal, McMahon, who was WWE's controlling shareholder, will own 16.4% of the economic interest in TKO and 16.4% of the voting power in the new entity. McMahon stepped down as WWE's chief executive in 2022 amid an investigation by the company's board into alleged hush money payments to women who accused him of sexual misconduct. McMahon returned to the company in January of 2023 as an executive chairman to head up efforts to sell the WWE. According to Endeavor, the TKO deal will result in an estimated $50 million to $100 million in annualized run rate cost synergies, including by migrating WWE to Endeavor's back office infrastructure. The cost savings target presumably will also include layoffs at UFC and the WWE, fortunately, but the companies have not announced details about job cuts at this point. In addition, TKO will leverage Endeavor's expertise in areas including domestic and international media rights, ticket sales, and yield optimization, event operations, global partnerships, licensing, and premium hospitality to drive revenue growth, the company has said. The creation of TKO marks an exciting new chapter for UFC and WWE as leaders in global sports and entertainment. Endeavor CEO Ariel Emanuel has quoted, who also serves as CEO of TKO, said in a prepared statement, "Given that their continued activity to the Endeavor network, we are confident in our ability to accelerate their respective growth and unlock long-term sustainability value for shareholders. With UFC and WWE, we will provide more billion passionate fans worldwide." On a pro forma basis, TKO had $2.43 billion in revenue for 2022, with UFC presenting $1.14 billion of that, and WWE accounting for $1.29 billion, and a net income of $351.8 million, fronting adjusted. TKO assumed $2.3 billion debt taken with the close, and WWE will be about while will be 2.5 levered. In addition, Emmanuel serving as TKO CEO, the new company's management team comprises Mark Shapiro as president and COO, who continues to be officer of Endeavor, CEO of C, and Epstein remains executive VP and CEO of UFC. Nick Khan will continue in the WWE role of president after having a seat on TKO's board. WWE execs who will receive bonus payments in connection to the TKO deal include Khan at $15 million, executive producer and chief global television distribution, $7 million, chief content officer Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, at $5 million, and CFO Frank Riddick at $5 million. And said, "This is a culmination of a decades-long endeavor in WWE, talent representation and media rights. Given our collaborative, trusted relationship and Endeavor's incredible track record of success, growing UFC, we believe WWE is optimally positioned for future growth and success as part of TKO. Our focus remains on delivering for our fans across the globe as we take the next UFC and Endeavor. As CEO of WWE, made payment totaling $0.6 million dating back to 2007 related to the alleged misconduct the company had disclosed. WWE said McMahon had taken a medical leave in July after undergoing spinal surgery. Also in July, federal law enforcement agents executed a search warrant and served a federal grand jury subpoena on McMahon in connection with the sexual misconduct investigation and demanded legal. In August 2nd, WWE noted no charge had been brought in on these investigations. And these are the new 11 board of directors members for TKO. Vince McMahon as the executive chairman, Ari Emanuel as CEO, Mark Shapiro as president and COO, Nick Khan as the WWE president, Peter Bosz, the senior advisor of multinational law firm DLA Piper, Egon Durbin as co-CEO of a private equity firm, Silver Lake, Steve Koonin, CEO of the Atlanta Hawks, Jonathan Kraft, president of the Kraft Group and president of the New England Patriots. Sonia Medina Williams, president and CEO of Reach Resilience. Nancy Tellum, executive chairperson and media officer at Echo. And Wheeler, CEO and board member of Obor Technology. Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs served as financial advisors to Endeavor. Latham and Watkins served as legal advisor to Endeavor, and Alvarez and Marcel served as integration advisor to Endeavor. The Rain Group served as lead financial advisor to the WWE alongside J.P. Morgan and Moels and Company. Paul Weiss behind Wharton and served as advisor to WWE, and Kirkland Ellis served as legal advisor to WWE. And that is you guys. What a time that we live in. What a time we live in. This is insane, guys. What a time that we live in, guys. So last night was the last official WWE Monday Night Raw of the McMahon era, solely controlled by the McMahon family. That was the last Monday Night Raw that we ever witnessed under the McMahon privately owned company, under the McMahon family owning this company. In 1982, Vince McMahon bought this company from his father for $1 million. And in April of 2023, he came to selling the company to Endeavor for $9 billion. That is his net worth now. Vince McMahon turned a $1 million investment into a $9 billion net worth. Say what you will about Vince McMahon, but, good or bad, evil or not, that man is one hell of a businessman and one hell of a promoter. And the WWE is the premier wrestling company, no matter what the AEW drones will tell you. There is no other wrestling company on top of the world but the WWE. They are the tippy top and have been forever. I mean, it seems like forever. You know what I mean? They've been down before. They've had their moments where it wasn't looking too good. They've made it through the Monday Night Wars. They made it through the steroid scandal. They made it through the Chris Benoit scandal. They made it through the second steroid scandal that hit after the Benoit tragedy. And here they stand, still going strong. And now a new company emerges out of the fire. TKO. I'm not really, too savvy when it comes to like New York Stock Exchange stuff and stocks in general. But that's definitely something that in my midlife now, because I'm 36 now, I would definitely need to start educating myself a little more. And I feel like it would be wise to start making some investments. And I feel like that would definitely be a very smart and strong investment for myself and for my family's future, for certain. Just putting it out there. And on the final night of the McMahon-controlled Monday Night Raw, we saw in a main event for the WWE Women's World Championship last night, Rhea Ripley defending her title in a rematch from Payback against Raquel Rodriguez. And it actually was a much better match than their match they had at Payback, in my opinion. But it did not end without controversy, as out of nowhere, the returning Nia Jax, just like her theme song says, she's not like most girls, Nia Jax returned to the WWE and cost Raquel Rodriguez the WWE Women's World Championship. But not only that, not only just attacking Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax made it well known that she was coming for Rhea Ripley in that title by attacking Rhea Ripley and leaving Monday Night Raw. The last image that we saw before the lights went off for the night, it was Nia Jax standing tall over a broken, beaten down Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley. So Nia Jax makes her return, and that was the final shot of the McMahon-led Monday Night Raw of the McMahon era. it was a good Raw. I mean, overall, it was a very good Monday Night Raw. I'm still like in shock. Like, this is actually real life. You know what I mean? I feel like now, I feel like I have to merge with our MMA show now here on IE Sports Radio, because now the WWE and the UFC are now under one umbrella. I feel like now our show should be under one umbrella. Just throwing it out there, Larry, Taryn, if you guys are still in the chat room listening. Just a thought. Anyway, we don't have to, we don't have to do that if we don't want to. Just saying. I thought it'd be kind of funny to do that. Since the WWE and UFC have done that as well. But, hey. So, let's get in some more news here. I want to jump into the Impact Wrestling's 1,000th episode tapings. These actually just took place over the weekend. They had their taping in Westchester County, at the Westchester... Oh, God, man, I can't even talk this morning. It was this past Saturday night, September 9th, at the Westchester County Center in White Plains, New York. And the Impact 1000th episode celebration will actually air in a few weeks. But if you don't want to hear this, guys, tune out, put me on mute for the next 5 to 10 minutes so you don't spoil it for yourself. I mean, you can still watch it. I mean, I would still watch it. I used to read spoilers all the time growing up and still watch the show no matter what. But, I mean, to each his own. So if you don't want to hear the next part of this of the broadcast here today, tune me out for a second, tune me down, go in the other room, put me on mute. Just don't leave. I'm begging you, don't leave. Just tune me out for a few minutes. So, the pre-show, they had some preliminary matches that went on before the taping started. We had Jody Threat defeat Killin King in a one-on-one match, and then the Impact Knockouts World Tag Team titles were put on the line. MK Ultra, Masha Slamovich, and Killer Kelly defended their tag team titles successfully against the Death Dolls, Courtney Rush, and Jessica. And the taping started after that. The Impact Wrestling 1000th episode taping started as this, with the Ultimate X match, the premier match, the signature match of Impact Wrestling / TNA history, where they suspend 4 poles. If you've never seen an Ultimate X match, you should really do yourself a favor and look it up. They are highly entertaining, very thrilling, very scary at times, depending on the type of bumps that you see in these matches. This is definitely the signature match that stands out for Impact Wrestling, especially during the days of the 6-sided ring that they used to have. There are 4 poles that are placed in the ring, and then 2 cables, they almost look like ring ropes. 2 cables are suspended above the ring in the shape of an X. Hence the name, the Ultimate X match. And either a briefcase or a championship title will be placed in the center, and the competitors in the ring will have to shimmy or climb or pull, do pull-ups across the ropes that form the X and grab the championship or the briefcase or whatever the item in the middle is. And that is how you win an Ultimate X match. And they're fucking awesome. I see Larry in the chat room. What the crap? That's crazy. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. These guys, some of the craziest bumps have ever been taken in this match. I remember one that's very scary. If you guys want to look it up on YouTube, I can't remember who exactly it involved. I think Christopher Daniels was involved in this. He's now the head of talent relations for AEW. Christopher Daniels made his career in Impact Wrestling back in the day when it was known as TNA Wrestling. I believe it was him and, oh man, I want to say it was Frankie Kazarian or Homicide. It was one of those 2 guys and Chris Daniels, and they had this really, really scary spot where Daniels legit almost fell on his, like, the top of his head from the middle of the ring, from the X, from like where the X meets. It was supposed to look like a neck breaker, but it definitely didn't. I mean, thank God he didn't break his neck or worse, but it was a really nasty bump. AJ took one of the best bumps in that match where he was hanging, AJ Styles, for those that don't know, AJ Styles had a much different career before heading to the WWE. That's where he made his name. AJ Styles became a name because of Impact/TNA Wrestling, and he was involved in one of the, I think it was like the second or third Ultimate X match, and AJ was suspended above the ring. He was trying to climb for the title, and I believe it was Chris Sabin that drop kicked him from the top turnbuckle, jumped across the ring, hit him with a drop kick. AJ was kicked in the chest, and then instead of falling backwards, just letting go and falling on his back, AJ kind of swung and then did a front somersault and then took a back bump into the middle of the ring. It was insane. I still remember that to this day. It's so vivid in my mind. I can see AJ now doing this somersault from the middle of the ring down to the ring. And this was done in a 6-sided ring. And if you've seen any shoot interviews or just any interviews in general from former Impact Wrestling talents who competed inside the 6-sided ring, they will tell you firsthand that ring was like landing on concrete compared to a 4-sided ring. For some reason, those rings are just made more sturdier, I guess. I'm not really sure how what the physics go into that when it comes to making a 6-sided ring, but apparently a lot of guys said taking bumps on that thing was not fun whatsoever. But those are a lot of classic matches. Sorry, I went off on a tangent, but I just wanted to explain what the Ultimate X match was, how famous it really is for fans of Impact Wrestling, and what it means to the lineage of Impact Wrestling. If you've never watched TNA or Impact Wrestling in general, but Impact Wrestling is definitely like the match that they're known for. I would compare the Ultimate X match is like, I don't want to say it's exactly like, but I want to say like, when you think of certain match types with wrestling, what comes to mind in the WWE, and I know Larry can attest to this if the head honcho Larry B is listening still. For the WWE, what match type rings true or like just comes straight to mind for you, Larry? It would be, I know I'm talking to him like if he's right here with me. I just know because me and Larry have talked about this over and over again. Anytime like wrestling is brought up, whenever we have, we're just chatting it up. But I know for him, he always brings up the Hell in a Cell match, and for me, that's definitely a match that pops up in my mind. And it just like WWE Hell in a Cell match. They correlate with each other. That just always brings me there. And I feel like the Ultimate X match is that type of match for Impact/TNA. When you think of TNA or Impact Wrestling, you think of the Ultimate X match. And you think of the Hell in a Cell match when you think of, WWE old school stuff, So that's how I correlate the two. That's the famous match for Impact, as is Hell in a Cell is the famous match for the WWE. So if that analogy makes sense to anyone out there. So the Ultimate X match kicks off the Impact Wrestling 1000th episode taping. Alan Angels defeated Rich Swann, Zachary Wentz, Samurai Del Sol, Ace Austin, and Speedball Mike Bailey to win the Ultimate X match. And I believe I know that, okay, if it wasn't a briefcase, now I remember. If it's not a briefcase or a championship that they put in the middle of the X, it's an actual giant X that they, like a physical X, like a giant X that they have to actually grab from down from the ropes. And it usually means like they win a championship match at a later date or they become number one contender, something like that. And then there was the return of the Feast or Fired match. This is the what they call the reverse battle royal. I'm about to get really complicated. I do apologize. This was a stupid idea that was created by Vince Russo. Bro, for those who don't know who Vince Russo is a very controversial figure for many, many fans in the world of professional wrestling. He was the head writer of the WWE during the Attitude Era, during the peak of the WWE when they started beating WCW. And he kind of, got a big ego from that. And he left the WWE in late 1999 to go work for WCW to try and turn their fortunes around. When ultimately he became exposed as just nothing but a talentless hack who had Vince McMahon to filter his terrible ideas through. So he is definitely one of the reasons why WCW is no longer here, because that last year of WCW, if you've ever watched anything from WCW in the year 2000, is hot, steaming, smelly garbage. It's a fucking abysmal. Vince Russo is the guy that put the WCW World Championship on actor David Arquette. Enough said. So he somehow found a job back in TNA because he was buddies with Jeff Jarrett, who was the owner of co-owner of TNA at the time, Impact, and Dixie Carter, the former owner of Impact Wrestling / TNA. And he created this reverse battle royal called the Feast or Fired match, where instead of the battle royal starting in the ring, the battle royal starts on the outside of the ring, which I don't fucking understand how that works. And whoever gets in the ring, I believe it gets narrowed down to like 4 guys or something like that, or 3 guys. I forget what. It's really stupid. It's so dumb. I can't even believe I'm trying to explain it because it doesn't really make any sense. Whatever the case, there ends up being like 3 or 4 winners because there's 3 or 4 briefcases that these guys win, and 3 of them contain something of a reward, like a championship, title match, or whatever, or an actual championship somehow. And one of the briefcases contains the words "You're fired," so that's why they call it the Feast or Fired match. It doesn't really make sense. It's definitely not one of the highlights of the Impact Wrestling history. But these participants were Chris Bay, Crazy Steve, Yuya Uemura, Moose, Heath, Steve Macklin, Laredo Kid, Johnny Swinger, Joe Hendry, Jonathan Grisham, Black Taurus, PCO, Sammy Callahan, John Schuyler, Brian Myers, Kushida, Johnny Bravo, Jay Vidal, Kevin Knight, and Fupinder Guyar. And the case winners ultimately were Chris Bay, Crazy Steve, Yuya Omori, and Moose. And it doesn't show what those briefcases were revealed. After that match was won, the Impact Wrestling president, Scott D'Amore, came to the ring and recalled Team Canada's debut on the very first episode of Impact. It noted that the Upkills will celebrate Impact's past, present, and future, and introduced former Impact Knockouts Women's Champion and Impact Wrestling Hall of Famer Gail Kim, who put over the Knockouts division, but was then interrupted by the return of the Beautiful People. The Beautiful People, that's right. Velvet Sky and Angelina Love returned to Impact. This led to a lengthy segment that saw the teams of the 10 Knockout Tag Team match make their way out. Tasha Steele made her return and noted that she will be a part of Deonna Purrazzo, Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, and Angelina Love's team. Mickie James then made her way out and revealed that she would be a part of the team alongside Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, Jordan Grace, and Trinity. And then we had a tag team match coming out of retirement. Would be Brother Devon reuniting with his brother Bully Ray as Team 3D, for better known to WWE fans as Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley, the Dudley Boys. They couldn't use the Dudley name in TNA, so they created the name of Team 3D, and they were once known as Brother Ray and Brother Devon, because they couldn't even use the names Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley, so that's where that comes from. They defeated the tag team of the Desi Hit Squad, Champagne Singh, and Rohit Ruja. And then we had a segment where the former Impact Wrestling World Champion Josh Alexander made his way to the ring and stated that he is coming for the Impact Wrestling World Championship since he never lost the title. Which is true. He was injured. He had to give up the title. And then we had a mixed tag team match. Frankie Kazarian and his real-life wife, former Impact Knockout Tracy Brooks, defeated Eddie Edwards and his real-life wife, Alicia Edwards. And then a post-match, after the match was over, it was announced by former TNA Impact Knockout Tracy Brooks that the first inductees to this year's Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame have been announced. Former Impact Wrestling commentating team Mike Tenay and the late, great Don West will be inducted into the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. When you think about the history of Impact Wrestling, when you think about the TNA years when they were known as Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, the voices of TNA were none other than Mike Tenay and Don West. Mike Tenay and Don West were a part of some of the biggest moments in Impact Wrestling history. They were there ringside when Kurt Angle made his crazy debut in the Impact Zone. They were there for when Christian Cage made his debut in the Impact Wrestling Zone. They were there for so many big moments in the early years of Impact Wrestling. It really makes me so happy to see that Don West, the late great Don West, and Mike Tenay will be the newest inductees to the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. Congratulations to them both. Then we had the Impact Wrestling X Division Championship match. Chris Sabin defeated Leo Rush. Spoiler, defeated Leo Rush to become the new X Division champion. And then we had a singles match between Jake Something defeating Dirty Dango, aka WWE's Fandango. Then we had a one-on-one match. Eric Young with Scott D'Amore in his corner defeated Kenny King via disqualification. Post-match saw Shark Boy make his return to Impact Wrestling, and said this would not end, and this has become an 8-man tag team match. And this was Eric Young, Scott D'Amore, being joined by the reuniting America's Most Wanted, the former NWA/TNA tag team champions, James Storm and Chris Harris, back together again as America's Most Wanted, teaming with Team Canada's Eric Young and Scott D'Amore to defeat Kenny King, Sheldon Jean, Diener, and Khan. And in a one-on-one match, we had Josh Alexander defeated Trey Miguel. And then after the match, it was announced that whoever wins the World Championship match at the next pay-per-view, Josh Alexander will challenge the World Champion at Impact's next big pay-per-view, Bound for Glory. And in a main event, we had a 10-woman tag team match. Trinity, Jordan Grace, Gail Kim, Mickie James, and Awesome Kong defeating Deonna Purrazzo, Angelina Love, Giselle Shaw, Tasha Steelz, and Savannah Evans. And that, fans, is the 1000th episode of Impact Wrestling. You can now unmute me if you want to be welcome back to the show. So I'm really glad to see that they had such a great show. I can't wait to actually watch the show. I saw some fan videos from it over on X and on YouTube that made their rounds, and it looked like a really fun show. The fans definitely looked like they just loved every single minute of it, especially when Team 3D showed up. So I'm really looking forward to catching that. That is actually going to be live. Their show, not live. Their show is always taped, but it will premiere on, I believe it's this coming Thursday, or if not next Thursday. I believe it's this coming Thursday, on Access TV. We're going to take a short little break, guys, and we'll be back with some more wrestling news. Stay tuned. Do not change the channel. Do not skip the show. Do not, go play a video game or get some coffee. Or, you can get some coffee, but, come back. I'll be right back with you guys.
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Callum Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
If you just heard that drop, that was 3 and Out, the premier football show here on IE Sports Radio, run by my boy, the head honcho of IE Sports Radio, Larry B. What a weekend for football. I got to give it up to my Saints. Yeah, who that? Who that say they're going to beat them Saints? I know we narrowly pulled it out, but hey, a win's a win. 16-15, we defeated the Tennessee Titans. I was very happy, obviously. And I'm sure all the insufferable Cowboys fans were happy by the just the decimation of the New York Giants that took place later that night on Sunday. Like I in the back of my mind, I kind of figured the Cowboys would actually win that game, but damn, I didn't think it was going to be by that huge of a margin. That was very surprising. And last night, the unfortunate injury to Aaron Rodgers, who is now out for the season. What a oh man! I mean, it's not funny. I shouldn't be laughing at somebody's misfortune, but it's just damn. I mean, like, what did he do? Did he just? I mean, did he hurt his ankle when he was running out to the field before the game even started? Oh man, I'm terrible. But anyway, wow. Well, whatever. Anyway, let's move on. We got some more wrestling news here, guys, that I want to share with y'all. Let's see here. I got a whole long list. So this is just some random stuff. I'm just going to be throwing a whole bunch of things out there. So I know I discussed the Dudley Boys earlier when they were announced for the Impact 1000 show. It has actually been announced per Sports Illustrated that Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley have signed Legends contracts with the WWE. So they're not technically WWE talent because they can work outside of the WWE, but they are now under Legends contracts, which means that we could see the Dudley Boys reappear in video games, in action figure form. They could sell T-shirts of the Dudley Boys, legacy items like that. So they basically have a legacy deal with the WWE to have their images as Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley forever. Not forever, but I guess whatever the length of the terms of the contract are. But that's really cool. So it'd be nice to see if maybe they pop up in the next WWE game, WWE 2K24. I would love to see that. Speaking of the WWE, this is really odd to see. This was reported by, so take it with a grain of salt. This is reported by the Wrestling Observer newsletter, a.k.a. Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez. That silence was my sarcasm, my face of discontent. But anyway, Gable Steveson, the Olympic gold medalist, and was a member of the NXT roster, but apparently he is no longer. He was removed from the WWE's NXT roster. Gable made his long-awaited debut at the end of July at the Great American Bash Premium Live event, where he took on Baron Corbin, and that ended in a double countout. He hasn't been seen since, and he has now been removed from the roster. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if Gable Steveson is gone from the company in general, or what it could be. I mean, I really don't know what exactly happened with Gable Steveson. I know it was reported that he was supposed to be entering into the Amateur Wrestling World Championships, but he is no longer doing that as well. So I don't know what the deal is with Gable Steveson. I don't know where his career is right now, or what his career will be going. I don't know if he's still with the WWE or not. I know his progression wasn't where they wanted it to be, and he definitely seemed to have been overhyped. I feel like WWE really overhyped him to be like he's the next Kurt Angle, because he too was an Olympic gold medalist, when I feel like WWE has had the next Kurt Angle this entire time in Chad Gable, especially if you watched last Monday, not yesterday, but last week's Monday Night Raw, when he main evented Raw with Gunther for the Intercontinental title. Gable, he just had those Kurt Angle vibes. I had the chills watching that match. Literally, everything that he did was so crisp, and it just looked real. It looked tight. It just looked like this man was fighting Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, like, it's kind of weird for me the way that I can like explain that. I'm trying to find the words to say, because people tend to say that wrestling is the dreaded F word, fake, but when when Chad Gable is in the ring, Gable makes his wrestling look legit, is the best way I could put it. I guess that's the best way I could say it without insulting too many people. But Chad Gable is definitely I would say he's the new Kurt Angle. He's the WWE's new Kurt Angle. He's what they've needed. They've been searching for a Kurt Angle since they lost Kurt Angle back in 2006. And now I feel like they have him. The fans are behind him. He's gotten over legitimately with the crowd organically through his through his entertaining personality, and now he's getting over based on his fantastic wrestling ability. WWE superstar, because he still is under contract technically, Edge has donated his signed gear he wore in his last WWE match to WWE superstar Sami Zayn's Sammy for Syria charity. Zayn says Edge wanted to surprise him, so he went through the WWE auctions and Fanatics team, and Sammy found out through them about the incredible gift. 100% of the proceeds from the auction will go directly towards helping to fund mobile clinics over in Syria. So that's really awesome. Good guy Edge doing good guy things, trying to help out a really good cause. Check it out, Sammy for Syria charity. And if you got some extra shekels, why don't you try to win an auction to own a piece of wrestling history. This could be potentially Edge's last match in the WWE ever. And you can own his ring-worn ring gear. We're going to go over the pond. Well, they're actually coming over here. New Japan Pro Wrestling has announced NJPW Strong Lone Star Shootout will be taking place Friday, November 10th in Dallas, Texas at the Curtis Colwell Center. The Curtis Colwell Center was the site of NJPW Strong's Autumn Attack back in 2021, where TJP would join the United Empire, and fans were treated to 2 nights of spectacular action. And now here in November of 2023, NJPW is back again with a card that is yet to be announced, but tickets are on sale now for the Curtis Colwell Center for NJPW Strong Lone Star Shootout. Tickets start at $40 and go up to about $149. So that's not too bad to be in front row. $149 is not bad at all. So check it out, guys. Go to njpw1972.com. That's njpw1972.com. And here in local news, for local wrestling news, local wrestling, independent wrestling company, Metroplex Wrestling, that wrestles here live in Bedford, Texas, has announced a training seminar with the current Impact Wrestling World Champion Alex Shelley. This is for trained wrestlers only, where you can get a one-on-one training session with the Impact Wrestling World Champion Alex Shelley, starting at $77. And this will be on September 30th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at 510 Harwood Road in Bedford, Texas. So if you are interested and you are a trained professional wrestler and you're interested in learning some, the tutelage under the learning tree, that's the best way I would say it. If you want to learn under the learning tree of Alex Shelley, the current Impact Wrestling World Champion, go to metroplex-wrestling.square.site, or just look up Metroplex Wrestling on Google and you will find the link to purchase your training seminar ticket. In more independent wrestling news, Booker T confirmed on his podcast that Silla Fatu, the son of the late WWE star Umaga, is no longer a part of his Reality of Wrestling promotion. Fatu made his professional wrestling debut for the promotion back in July, and this is what Booker T had to say, and quote, I've been getting a lot of calls. People have been hitting us up, asking us about Zilla Fatu and when they are going to see him again. Honestly, I can't tell you when you're going to see Zilla Fatu again because he is now no longer a part of Reality of Wrestling due to irreconcilable differences. I think I said that right. Irreconcilable differences. Let's just put it that way. And that's how Booker T put it. So whatever happened between Fatu and Booker T's wrestling school, Reality of Wrestling, it did not end on the best of terms. Booker then went on to say that he's sure Fatu's career will continue on the independent circuit, and he wished him well in his future endeavors. The departure is quite abrupt with no mention as to why he left the company. So that's a little odd and unfortunate to hear that the son of Umaga and Booker T somehow came to some sort of disagreement. I don't know what it is, but they're keeping it very close to the chest. And yeah, so that's where we're at there. That's unfortunate to hear. Definitely unfortunate. Hopefully his career continues. I hope it's not some sort of like attitude issue or whatever it could be. This was first announced on X by WWE superstar Scarlett Bordeaux that she and fellow WWE superstar Shotzi will be hosting a new paranormal series on WWE's YouTube channel called Chamber of Horrors, just in time for the Halloween season, guys. The series will see the pair traveling to uniquely haunted areas in certain cities for WWE events. Scarlett has confirmed they visited apparently the very well-known haunted Penhurst Asylum is one of the sites that they will visit on the show. The series will begin Wednesday, September 20th. That's actually next Wednesday, guys. So if you are a subscriber to the WWE YouTube channel, check out this paranormal series, Chamber of Horrors, with Shotzi and Scarlett. And some more WWE news. This is actually some television news. The feeling is that Fox is not going to go for the $300 million, or I think it's 300 plus, 300 million plus that WWE is trying to get out of them for SmackDown in the TV rights negotiations. Because the TV rights are going to be coming up here fairly soon for Friday Night SmackDown, which is currently on the Fox network. The two leading companies that are in contention for WWE SmackDown is Amazon and, get this, Disney. Yeah, that's right. Disney and Amazon are in contention to be the new site for WWE SmackDown. On Disney's part, I would assume this would mean SmackDown would probably be on ABC, because I know Disney owns ABC, so I can't imagine SmackDown being like a Disney Plus exclusive. So it definitely would have to be on possibly. I mean, hell, it could even end up on ESPN because I know Disney owns ESPN as well. They that's under the same umbrella. So who knows? Maybe SmackDown will be on ESPN on Fridays or ABC on Fridays. Who knows? But Amazon, that one's a strange one to me. Well, we shall see. I'll keep you guys posted on that for sure. So yeah, we'll take another short little break and I'll be back. I know we only got 10 minutes, but we're going to take a short little break and we'll get into the upcoming pay-per-views for WWE and AEW. Stay tuned, guys.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From where we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
It's your boy, the SoCal Saint. We are back. We only got about 7 minutes now before I have to say goodbye to you guys. But thank you for tuning in live to today's episode. It was fantastic doing the show for you guys, as it is every week that I'm able to do this. I really do appreciate it. It's fun. I love it. It's like a release for me to just be able to come here and chat wrestling. I know I feel like I'm talking to myself because I mean technically I am, but really I feel like I'm talking to all of you who are listening live, or if you're listening on the download later on one of our many platforms that you can find us on, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. If you're listening on YouTube, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your hard-working days to listen to poor little old me talk about what I love, professional wrestling. And with that, real quick, we got some pay-per-views coming up, guys, here in the next few weeks. We have AEW Wrestle Dream will be taking place live on pay-per-view October 1st from the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. This event will be held in honor of New Japan Pro Wrestling's founder, the late great Antonio Inoki. And this is actually taking place on the 1-year anniversary of his passing. And NJPW and AEW are doing this conjointly, so there will be talent from both companies on the show. The first official match has already been announced for this pay-per-view live in front of his hometown crowd. It will be Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, will be taking on the NJPW television champion Zack Sabre Jr. in a dream match, as announced on this past Saturday night on Collision. Bryan Danielson also announced that he doesn't have much left in him to be a full-time competitor, so he has made it a fact, and it is a fact as reported by the Wrestling News. That almost sounded like an oxymoron. If you treat it as fact from the Wrestling Observer newsletter with Tuna Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, that Bryan Danielson will be slowing down his full-time in-ring career by the time his young daughter turns 7. She is currently 6 years old, and Bryan legitimately will be hanging up his boots full-time in the coming year, but he will apparently remain with AEW as a special attraction talent who will come out for big one-time matches. But as a full-time competitor, Bryan Danielson will be hanging it up, which I say good for him, because then he'll actually be able to retire on his own terms, unlike how he did a few years ago. Next big pay-per-view event coming up after Wrestle Dream is going to be WWE Fastlane, as announced during Payback. Fastlane returns. Fastlane is usually one of the pay-per-views that goes in between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania on the road to WrestleMania, but apparently not this year. Fastlane will be taking place live Saturday, October 7th in Indianapolis, Indiana, at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse Arena. No matches have been announced yet, but tickets are currently on sale, and I will keep you guys posted as to when and what matches will be announced for this show. And this will actually be the first premium live event for the WWE under the new TKO umbrella. So that's crazy. That's just crazy once again. And then again, we will get another AEW pay-per-view. AEW is actually going to be hitting my old stomping grounds. My old where I was actually born. If you check my birth certificate, AEW in November will be headed to Inglewood. Inglewood, always up to no good. Inglewood, California. They will be having their Full Gear pay-per-view event live in what I remember it known as the Great Western Forum, the former home of the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lake Show that was their stomping grounds. That's what I remember as a kid before the Staples Center came around. It is now known as the Kia Forum, and it will be Saturday, November 18th, 2023 for AEW Full Gear, and the picture is actually pretty awesome. It is in purple and gold Laker colors. Very, very much respect to AEW for showing love to the Lakers by doing that for their pay-per-view poster. I do appreciate that. Tickets are on sale now. No official matches have been announced as of yet, but you can get your tickets now for Full Gear at the Kia Forum in Inglewood, California, Saturday, November 18th. All right, guys. Well, with that, that's it. That's the show, guys. What a crazy day today. I'm glad I was able to start the show off with the merger being official now between the UFC and the WWE under the banner TKO. Crazy times we live in, guys. You're seeing a lot of big companies merging with others, which seems really, I feel it's so weird that a lot of companies are doing that. Disney with Fox, and now you got the WWE with the UFC. I can't even imagine what would be next, but crazy times we live in. I'm your boy, the SoCal Saint. This has been the IE Elite Wrestling Show, your premier professional wrestling podcast. It's your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. Please, guys, check us out on the X at IE Sports Radio. Check us out at iesportsradio.com. And please do yourself a favor and get yourself some delicious jerky from planetjerky.net. This jerky is on a whole other planet. Check it out, guys. It is the sponsor of IE Sports Radio. It keeps the lights on for us. I'll see you guys next week. Same SoCal Saint time. Same SoCal Saint channel. Peace.